Greetings and hello there, everybody. It's me, your beloved Star Wars dad, Nooch Too Good, and we are here today with a new pal, Vexitron. How you doing, Vex?
What's up, Nooch? Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
it's a pleasure.
Am I okay to call you Vex? I would make sure.
Yeah, Vex is cool.
Okay, all right. And so the purpose here today, and we had set this up actually, I don't know, like 3 or 4 days ago, before like the video yesterday talking about people that were already taking characters to Gear 12 that they maybe weren't ready to take to Gear 12, and you know, me showing concern for that. But we'd already set up a video to get together and talk here because we've never talked. We've DM'd a little bit, and Vexitron's kind of rising in the ranks of content creators, and I encourage everybody, go check out his channel. I'll put a link in the description as well. What Vexitron is doing, a lot of it, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, and I'll let you talk about it here in a moment, but a lot of your channel, from what I can see, is a lot of really good Grand Arena content at the highest levels of the game, where you're banging out and playing some of the biggest players in the game. But go ahead, Vexitron, tell us about your channel first, and then we'll get started talking about this update a little bit.
Yeah. First, thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure. But my content is mostly revolved around the end game of Kyber 1 Grand Arena, kind of like, you know, certain counters, different methodology with how you go for your attacks. I like going for high efficiency, higher banners. So I like to show a little bit of like an entertaining kind of Grand Arena experience, but also showing the community different counters and strategy and different tips to look out for. So majority of my gameplay is Grand Arena, but I do other kinds of content like Conquest and different events and stuff like that.
When I saw you on the other day doing roster reviews, right?
Yeah, so I've been starting some roster reviews the past couple months for some of my members and some, if I can get to the time, to some just viewers, but it takes a lot of time.
It takes more time than you think it does, right?
Yeah, I gotta set like a time limit because like sometimes they go for like more than a half hour. And I'm like, I gotta just keep this going.
What you should do is just offer them for free to anybody who wants them, and then you get 1,200 people and knock them all out in 2 months. That's the best way to do it, I found. Don't do that.
In mind.
Don't do that. Well, anyway, so that's great. And guys, Vexitron, he is definitely there. Go check him out. And let me ask you one question, because this will lead us into our discussion here. So, and I looked through your channel, couldn't find anything on it. When we have marquees, do you pay the $100 and unlock them, you know, through the different packs come out, or do you just farm the marquee and then come in later and farm them when they're available?
So prior to doing content, never dropped on marquee. Always get to 3-star, do it slowly. Since being a content creator, I went for Ahsoka, I went for Balin, I went for Mace. Didn't go for the new Bad Batch, not going for Pirates right away. Gonna slowly farm them until like the last couple marquees to get Hondo day 1. But I'd say I was typically a guy that did 3 or 4-star and then just slowly waited. But now, as a creator, I really hoard my crystals well, and then whatever I can, I'll drop 100 here or there, but I don't drop 150 on every character.
Okay.
I just pretty much take all my crystals towards those marquees.
Yeah, perfect. That's great. So, all right, then let's talk about this. And I don't know if you have the update there or not, but I mean, so this was the big thing that I had yesterday to kind of warn. I really feel like these new accounts that are jumping in and taking like Kelleran back, or the clones, the dark side clones, or whatever, they're going to relic these guys early on, and they're not going to have any Zetas on them, and they're not going to be really ready to play at all. What do you see as the value of this update? I know it's been. I feel like I'm a voice in the wilderness for this update. I feel like it's a good update overall for the game, and I feel like everything is good, including the new Relic Star requirements, where you can, you know, Relic 3 at 5 stars, Relic 4 at 6 stars. You can even Relic 2 at 4 stars. I think that's good. I just think people can really get caught off guard and waste a lot of resources on it. But I wanted to get your feelings about that, you know, especially for like end game players that maybe play like you do, where you're not getting every single marquee to 7 stars ASAP.
So, in my opinion, I feel like this update was really catered for certain endgame players that aren't wailing out on these characters but want to utilize them. So, we're able to now use these 3-star characters the day of unlock to get them to Gear 13, and we can attach a Datacron on them so they're not completely useless. So, in my opinion, it really benefits the endgame players or players that have been benefiting for a long time, where they're not dropping endless cash on the marquees, but now they can actually use them in a functional team. Or if you did decide to wail on one of the marquees, you can at least get the rest of the team at a certain relic point, so you can use that team functionally in a Grand Arena or Territory War format. So there's pros and cons to it. I think it definitely will confuse the early game player base. I've already found a great update on my free-to-play account where, I don't know if this was missed for the majority of the community, but I can literally bump up the ability materials for my ships without gearing up my pilots. So like the Bad Batch, for example, the Bad Batch, I was going to come out with a video for my free-to-play account saying, get these 2 guys to gear 11, and unlocks the ability material for the Marauder that makes them very OP. Now you don't even have to spend the Chirotech on the Endurance fleet to get those abilities max, and that's going to be really helpful. I'm able to beat Executors all the time on my free-to-play account with a very early game Bad Batch. So it's like stuff like that. There's pros and cons to it, but in terms of the relic stuff, I think it's better for the end game players that don't whale, that they can still use these teams.
Right.
In my opinion.
Well, and part of the challenge, and if you're playing, how long has your free-to-play account been around?
December of last year.
Okay, so 8 months or whatever. You know, part of the challenge there, and you might be feeling it too, is you don't have enough Zetas to do this stuff, right? I mean, like, I can take, let's say that I spend all the Chirotech and everything to get the Dark Side clones up for the raid at 4 stars, and I get them up to Relic 2 or whatever. But if I don't have the Zetas, they're not going to function, you know, and then so you're spending like everything on just a raid team. It's not going to do a lot for you in a lot of other places. And that's kind of where I don't know, that's where I fall on it. I don't know. I'm still, yeah, I hear everything you're saying, and I agree with everything you're saying about that. That's kind of where I am. What about the power creep on it? Where have you been able to tell, like, or do you know? That's been one of the questions from my community is like, okay, I got this guy at 5 stars and Relic 3. Is it usable? Like, can I go out there and fight other teams, or is it still just like a pretty good character that would have been the same at 7 stars and Gear 12 or something?
So I've been testing on my second account. So I don't know if I have 3 accounts technically. I have my main account Vexitron. I have Exile Vex, which was a Hyperdrive bundle account way back in the day. The game was a little slow back then, so I was like, I wanted a little bit more and see what it was like. So I've had that since the first introduction of Hyperdrive bundle. That's typically a more free-to-play account, so I kind of use that for like my low 3-star testing. So I actually was able to take my CX2 and my Scorch, who are 6-star and 5-star at the moment, to Relics, and I'm able to beat JMK teams with the Hermit Yodacron, even at 5-star Relic 3. So I think the team is still functional and still usable. Is it going to be as broken as 7-star Relic 9? Absolutely not. But they still have a purpose and still will be used in Grand Arena and even, you know, TW. So I do think it's a plus that we can actually attach Datacrons to the 5-star Relic 3 teams. So
yeah.
And still, in my opinion, I've been using Lord Vader on that account, and they're still performing well.
There you go. That's good information to have, that you've actually tested and done it. Excellent. Nice. Now let's talk about the rest of the update, like the Lightspeed tokens, which I think is just going to be good for everybody across the board. I mean, new players and mid gamers are going to get characters they don't have, and they're already going to be upgraded. And then if you've already got all the characters in the bit, then you're going to get a bunch of Chirotechs, basically, is what it looks like, or Carbonite circuit boards, or fragmented signal data, or whatever. So any thoughts on those Lightspeed tokens, or anything else about the update?
I think that's the big win for the free-to-play. I think being able to get a character up and running just like that is huge. I plan on, like, you know, my free-to-play account maybe possibly getting Grievous. I don't know if Grievous was one that wasn't listed, but he's part of the Separatist faction, and he's typically a harder farm to get because he's through Fleet Arena tokens. So if I can get him up and running just from getting that Lightspeed token, that'd be great. I know a lot of players haven't leveled up Stap, so you get him pretty much. Or I don't know how it works if you get to choose the character, but you're pretty much getting a character to a certain level for functionality. But I do think something else is coming down the line. I feel like this is just the calm before the storm.
Well, and Meathead said that, right? At the end, he says, and that was a video I made yesterday. You know, my community kind of told me all the things they thought were coming. So let's talk about that. And I think that's the most important next part. You know, there were other cool things, like I think it was really a big deal for them to have the cost of upgrading characters and ships. That was a major deal. And like you noted with the ships, now you can upgrade abilities, like just like characters and ships, you can upgrade abilities without being lower levels. But you know, Meathead closes it out with, we're excited to deliver this to you all and cannot wait to hear your feedback, as this is the foundation for our next large update coming later this year. So I'll ask you the same thing I asked my community and then made a video on their comments. What do you think that's going to be, and what do you want it to be?
That's a great question. What I think it's gonna be is it's definitely a new level of progression. I don't know if it's Relic 10. It might be something where in Marvel Strike Force there's like the red stars, where you get like a certain pull and you're gonna get a character at 4 or 5, 6 kind of thing. That's what fears me the most. If it comes to a level where the character that you pull is a degree of RNG based off a random pull like that, like in Marvel Strike Force, that definitely is concerning. What I want it to be, I guess I prefer Relic 10. I'd rather have a Relic 10 than a Red Star system because that's going to make it very difficult, I think.
Yeah, the Red Star system, I mean, I've been covering Marvel Strike Force here for about 5 months, and I don't see them going to, if they do like a Red Star type of system where, and for those who don't know, basically you have your 7 stars right now in your characters and they're all just these gold stars. A Red Star system would say if you add 1 Red Star, it's kind of like adding a relic level, and 2 Red Stars is 2 relic levels. They're completely RNG in Marvel Strike Force. You pull them out of a, you know, it's a gotcha mechanic. I don't think they would do that in this game because there's no gotcha in this game. There's no open a box and get a random thing. I mean, bronziums are that, but that's a very small part of the game, and you know, except for getting oh boy, brain's failing me. Getting our, what do we get out of, what do we get with our character shards when they're not?
Oh, Shard Shop?
Thank you, Shard Shop. Yeah, good lord. So for Shard Shop currency, it's valuable, but you know, there's really not any gotcha mechanics in the game. So I'd be really surprised if they dropped like, here, open this box and maybe get a red star for a random character, and you get a red star for Cup or something. I could see them adding that mechanic, or you know, Relic 9's been around for almost 5 years. If I look, I think I look back on it. It's crazy how long it's been around and how few people have Relic 9 characters still to this day. And I see that being a difference. Like you mentioned Marvel Strike Force, you know, the Lightspeed tokens, that's kind of a ripoff of Marvel Strike Force, where they have that available for, they give you like a full character for reaching a milestone in an event. Well, not a full character, but they give you a character like at certain stars or whatever. The making gear level and abilities available at lower levels, that's a Marvel Strike Force thing. But the problem is it doesn't really translate to this game as much because gear is not as plentiful in this game. Like, you know, Marvel Strike Force just has gear levels 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. When you get up in like the 16, 17 range, that's kind of like relic levels for Galaxy of Heroes. But getting to relic levels is still really hard, even with some changes in the recent, you know, cost of it. So I don't know. I do think Relic 10 could come. Some people have been speculating about level 100. You know, we haven't had a level increase in 8+ years in the game. Is that somehow gonna? It's gonna be really interesting to see what they do. But I don't know. What else on that? What do you think?
I mean, that's a great point because the more and more events they come out with, the more they're giving us an increasing amount of crazy amounts of credits. So maybe there's something coming that could be a little tinfoil hat kind of thing. Like the assault battles are giving an absurd amount of credits for some reason. So I have like about 1 billion on my alt account. So I don't know. A level 100 could be on the way. But the question is where is Relic 10 going to come from? Is it going to be a new game mode? Are they going to tie it into TW? Like, where's that material going to be exclusive to?
All good questions. No, I think that's a really good point, and we've talked about it. I talked about it when it first happened, and I haven't really talked about it since because nothing's happened. But when they gave us Duel of the Fates and Peridia Patrol, and it's like, okay, now you're getting an extra 20 million credits a month if you're taking it all the way to the end. What's that going to go toward? And now that they're cutting in half the cost of upgrading characters for anybody that's not endgame, you know, that's a pretty big deal where you're saving a bunch of credits. Are we saving those credits so that we can go to level 100? You know, it seems like there's got to be something that's coming, right? Something that makes sense where we're going to be spending more credits in the game down the road.
I mean, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of areas in this game that get credits now, and the assault battles are just creating the big stockpile. So it could be coming down to level 100. That's a great point. I didn't even think about level 100.
It would be crazy to do it after 8 years of sitting here at level 80 or 9 years. I mean, it's almost since the very beginning. It was very early. They went to level 85 and they stopped, and everybody, 100 just made like logical sense. They just never went there. So, well, Vex, any other observations or curiosities about the update or anything else going on? Because not only we had the update, we had 2 new characters last week, and I feel like there was even more. They were like, last week was just news heavy. So any other observations to share with us about anything that's going on in the game right now?
I'm happy that the Underman for the Order 66 raid is here to stay. I think it's pretty good for the overall player base because we were all worried about the Order 66 raid and it being heavily gated by the new characters, but it's good that the Undermans are still working, so I'm happy about that update. In terms of the update with the relics and the gear economy and all that, I think it's an overall good thing for the game, but there are concerns. I think there's something big coming where it's going to be 1 step forward, 2 steps back. That's my biggest concern. Or
1 big step forward and everybody complains for 2 months, and then we all move on with our lives and keep playing.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah. We'll have to see.
Yeah, we'll have to see, man. That's a really good point, and I had something to say in there and I lost it, but yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see what's coming up, and I'm assuming we got a few months to wait, and then big old massive drop in the game, and we'll have some fun going. I was going to agree with you on something. I think I was going to agree with the fact, I think that overall, and this is a good update with some possible pitfalls for people if they're not really thinking clearly about what they're doing with their roster, and that's where you got to be careful with it. So, well, Vexitron, I really appreciate you jumping on here. Guys, again, go check out his channel. It's just Vexitron, spelled exactly like it sounds, Vexitron. Let me ask you before we go, where'd the name come from?
So, my origin story begins that my initials are...
You have an origin story?
Well, everyone asks, like, what is Vexitron from?
Okay.
Where do you get that from?
Yeah.
So my initials are VT. So I was thinking, like, where can I add a cool prefix? And I was kind of into, like, Halo back in the day and, like, mech stuff. So I thought the Forerunners are really cool, and I like their logo. So I kind of went with, like, Vexitron, kind of, like, just thought it worked for me. But that's pretty much where it comes from.
It's funny how when you pick that name, no matter how old you are, it tends to stick with you for the rest of your life in gaming and online circles.
Oh yeah, my friends call me Vex all the time. It's turning into just Vex.
Well, my buddy and I have called each other Nooch since 1984, so we're good to go there. It's been a long time.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
All right, sir. Hey, Vexitron, thanks for joining us. I really appreciate you coming on today.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I would love to have you on my channel one day to discuss some stuff with Grand Arena. So, always open to that if you're down. Yeah,
hit me up. Let's schedule a time. Maybe after this week, because I got a bunch of stuff going on this week with people in town and everything. But we'll get together for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, everybody. Go check out Vexitron's channel. This is just more conversation about the current update and where it's leading us and where it's got us right now. Good to talk to an end gamer like Vex, and he's also got the other. I didn't know you had those other accounts, so that was good for me to learn today. But everybody, hey, have a great day. We will talk to you soon, and always remember, Nooch too good.